Now, tonight's 2020, a man murdered 3 Girl Scouts, right? Right. 2 of them he just killed, and 1 he killed and raped, right? Right. Now, they found out, though, and because the evidence they had when it went to trial wasn't enough to convict him, and he got off, but he went back to jail for a previous crime where he had raped 2 other women, right? But I don't think he killed them, but again, right? The 3 Girl Scouts, he killed them, only 1 of them was raped by him, right? I know. Now, this is a violent crime. We agree on that, right? But some child waking me up in the middle of the night telling me she's 16 and won't sleep with me, is that on me or her? Right. But why is she doing it? Probably because the crime's like that, right? When you tell someone else wants sex with a child, right? And I tell you I'm not trying to have sex with a child, though I know you can't, right? See, this man knew he could rape 1 of the girls, though he also could have raped all 3, right? He picked 1 of the 3 to rape. Right. That's a target. But I'm not laughing because the story's funny. I'm laughing because I understand the sickness and the sloppiness of the case, right? Because they also couldn't really convict him at that time, right? Exactly, right. Now, the reason they couldn't convict him is the evidence they had was so thin, right? He was able to bring a reasonable doubt plea, right? And say someone else could have did it, right? And that's the point, too. But everybody today knows about people trying to have sex with children, right? Even me, huh, right? Well, actually, I knew about it before now, right? And how I knew ain't your business, but I knew about it. And I never did it with anyone growing up. In fact, I was kind of scared to go all the way with the girl, unless she was on top or something. Because of that, right? I didn't want to rape nobody, right? I was even willing for the girl to be on top, right? Yeah. Not a guy, a girl. As well.
Able to get before, and they keep getting better and better at it.
One of the items contained hairs that have been collected from the floor of the tent. And so they go through and look at every one of the hairs, see which one has the best potential.
And this is what I mean about DNA. If something happened with my daughter, she's 4.
One of them did give us a part.
A 4-year-old would bleed. There's no way she couldn't bleed unless she's not a virgin at 4. That's what we're talking about here. I don't know about when she's 18 and older what would happen. We're not talking about an 18-year-old child. We're talking about why wouldn't a 4-year-old bleed if you think I had sex with her or not, right? We're not talking an adult woman. No, we're not. We're talking a 4-year-old who would bleed if I had sex with her, right? You're trying to make her an adult when she's 4. And accuse me of having sex with her, but she didn't bleed on the floor, right? No, she would bleed on the floor. They don't even put tampons in at 4. And she's covering for dear old dad, and that's the only person she would cover for. If I did something with her sexually, right? Not me she's covering for. It's Daddy Dearest. Honey. But not at 4. The reason they do the virgin test in the Bible is on the wedding night, they didn't have tampons, right? back then, right? And when the girl's a virgin, she'll bleed on the mattress, or in this case, the carpet in the living room, if she's a virgin, right? And I were to do something sexual with her. Do you understand why? Yeah, no. I'm not the one who's upset about my stepdaughter possibly waking me up and having to bring her back to the ex-wife, or that she said, Grandma. Her mother would be. And see, I would be paranoid she wasn't a virgin if she's doing that with me. And I wouldn't touch her because that could be my DNA on her, right? Right. Do you hear what I'm saying? I know. And in 94, they're starting to come out with DNA tests. Why do you think I wanted a DNA test to prove Jonathan was my son or not? Right. In 94. This way, no one can prove I even touched a little girl, not even with my tongue. I'm playing about that. If I was even tempted to lick her on them, right? Like I did her mother, and I'm making that part up because I did lick her mother, but not the daughter. Right? The daughter. Right. Now, like I told you, 2 of the women had daughters, but they also had a roommate. And one had a boyfriend who she kicked out the house and met me and had sex with me, and then I'm sleeping on the couch and I don't remember nothing happened, but then I'm with mom in the morning, right? Again. Not messing with the girl all night, right? On the couch, right? Again. Because this is how I'm made to date today, right? I'm just dating women with or without children sometimes, right? Not judging them. And like I said, like the woman at the well, she had 5 husbands and 1 lover, but no children, right? That's a reproach back then, right? All right, do you understand, right?
45 years later, investigators are keeping this case open. That's our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us at 2020 and ABC News.
Now, here's why I keep saying now, right? Today, this second, right? That I'm doing this video again, right? You cannot have a child lie to me about her age, 14, 15, or 16, right? Have sex with me and tell me she's 16, because a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old are almost fully developed by that time, right? Most girls between that age are as tall or short as they're going to be for the rest of their lives, right? How do I know? I grew up around females and males, and of course we all developed, and I'm into the females, not the males, right? What you're trying to do is say, I want sex with a child, and I'm worried you're involving one. By having her lie to me, because I'm telling you the only way I can be with her is she's 16, right? Which is on who? You. See, sex is natural, sex is fun. Not everybody does it, but everybody should, right? And sex is best when it's one-on-one, too, right? That's the song, that's the lyrics. Now, even a gay man, though, knows sex is best when it's one-on-one. I do, too. Now, what Moses says about premarital sex ain't what the church is teaching today, because they don't like the idea at all of premarital sex, and they're taken away from the Bible, right? As they did in Jesus' day, and he told them not to do that, right? You're doing the same thing with sex now, that they did with the Sabbath day and adultery and murdering the woman and stoning her, right? Jesus is trying to stop that crap too. I know he is. See, they brought this woman they caught in adultery, not even knowing who she is, maybe, to Jesus, right? And wanted him to stone her according to the law of Moses, and he couldn't, right? And I'm telling you why. Roman law prevented it. Jewish law prevented it. He's not her husband. You said so yourself. He can't stone her. It's not his right to. Oh, he's a husband can stone her. Yeah. If he's not married to her. Right, that is. Now, it's also different if you have premarital sex back then, right? Than now if he was with the woman at the well, too. You know what I mean? Right. She had done had 5 husbands and a lover, and Jesus would have been the 7th man, right? They wouldn't have even give a damn about her. By the way, it's not her they cared about. It would be if he was with Jewish women, right? They wanted to kill him and put him on the cross. But there's something going on behind the scene they're not telling you in the story, too, right? Okay. And one has to do with the woman caught in the act of adultery and why they brought her to Jesus in the first place and who she was to him, right? Did he know her at all? Was she a stranger, you know? And where's her husband in all this? If she is married, he's the one who actually has to pick up the first stone and stone her, right? As the law says as well. And they have to bring both men, both people who had the adultery, the male and the female, right? Shine, or whatever both is in the Hebrew. Mm-hmm. Shanae, or however you say it. Exactly. Not naming names. Right. Has to be both, right? Parties to be thrown, right? For the husband to determine their guilt, right? Though the law of Rome prevents capital punishment, and only Pontius Pilate could carry out capital punishment, as you see in the trial of Jesus, right? Or Herod, right? Could too, right? I know. But Jesus and no one else could, right? Do you understand rendering to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and the gods the things that are God's now? Better why he didn't stone her and forgave her, right? He couldn't if she wasn't his husband. He couldn't if they didn't bring both parties in the adultery and fornication, because it's kind of both, right? And neither the husband is identified at all, right? We don't even know who he is. Or the man was married and they're treating it like prostitution or something. We don't know that, right? See, this is where you gotta guess. And once you start guessing, you're making it up yourself. The story is not clear on who the woman was married to at all. That's the problem with it, right? Whoever wrote it don't know how to write a good book. At all. Do you see what I mean? Right. Whoever did my book kind of helped me out a little bit, right? And it wasn't me. Right? It's called a ghostwriter when someone helps you write your own autobiography. You don't really know what to say, right? But I can tell you who the ghostwriter was. He even interviewed me. I know he did. But the reason he did is some of what I'm saying, Chris Stamkowski and all that, right? He's hearing some of his names, Daphne Walker, right? But I don't mean him either. I know, you know. Okay, here's the thing. We are all given the same names unless you come up with your own unique one. Northwest ain't unique. Kim, right? Kanye, right? That's a pun. That's a funny name, right? To name your child. Blue Ivy, right? What? Don't they kind of mean the same thing? Blue and Ivy, right? Or is that more purple? I don't know. It's colors, though. Or maybe even a plant, right? Maybe even a plant. But it's cool. I don't care. You know, if that's what you want to name your child in the celebrity world, right? I understand that too. But see, I don't know what the hell y'all doing, right? Either. I'm from Georgia. We know bull crap. We don't try to lie, as far as I know, right? Or make up fake names. Emma Yahtzee? Okay. What's that from? Yahtzee and Emma. Right. That's a game with 5 dice. Some people play. I know. And it's not like poker. It's not like poker. Which have 5 cards. Now in the game of Yahtzee, you got to get so many things. Like, for instance, one of the things to get Yahtzee is you get all 5 dice the same number, right? To get Yahtzee, right? And it's a game you play with friends and relatives in Georgia too growing up. Okay. Now, whoever this idiot is, they're clearly delusional about me wanting to sleep with a child, but for some reason they don't believe me. And I don't know I've been with a child ever. That's why I keep asking, well, what are you doing trying to set me up with an underage girl? You know, she's 15, she told me she's 16, or she's 37, and right. See, that's entrapment, right? See, there is such a thing when law enforcement or even a vigilante father tries to set up his underage daughter with a disabled veteran who's not a pedophile, but people didn't call him one. And he might go out to the store, right? And what, so he don't sleep with her? You shoot me beforehand, or did we go to the bathroom, right? So you can't shoot me if we didn't do nothing, right? But if we did nothing, she said she was 37, right? Now, I did want to sleep with a 37-year-old woman that day. But not a 15-year-old girl, right? The difference is she maintained the story until you came down, maybe, with your little pea shooter, right? And knew she was 15, right? And then you told me after we got out the bathroom, and then I went and sit back down and do my nails again, right? And that's when you confronted me, told me she was 15, right? And I said, well, she lied about her age, and you're supposed to be in charge of that, right? Because he is, right? See, there's a requirement for him to do something with a 15-year-old he don't have to do with a 16-year-old, perhaps, but definitely a 15-year-old. He has to get her apprenticeship to work as a 15-year-old in that store, right? Or she can't do the job until she has one, right? That's his neglect of duty to protect his daughter from a disabled veteran trying to find a wife, and she tells him she's 37, and he thinks she's old enough to be with because he don't know her real age. Which is hard to tell the age of a woman to begin with. That's the point about Michelle Kwan, or even Miss Yamaguchi, right? But I'm doing nothing. I'm trying to find a wife. Not a 15-year-old girl to tell me she's 37 and trick me into having sex with her in the bathroom and then come out and her dad try to shoot me and bat me out, right? Like I'm telling you, too, it's nothing wrong if I didn't have sex with her, right? Why am I saying that, right? I didn't know she was really 15, right? If I did, right? And what am I telling you there? Criminal intent, right? A real pedophile is plotting to sleep with a child, right? A disabled veteran accused of pedophilia is trying to find an adult woman but can't find one because you're calling him a pedophile on YouTube, and this makes him kind of shy away from women, right? And little girls, right? Though he wants to marry one and date one, is trying to online, though, right? And even though he's striking out, he's still trying, right? All right, don't. How many wives did Solomon have? How many women did Wilt Chamberlain sleep with? Oh, you don't mind Wilt Chamberlain sleeping with 10,000 women, but if it's Shane Lee, oh, hell no. See what I mean? Hypocrisy, right? Not that I'm shooting for that high a number, and it shouldn't even be in my vocabulary. I'm trying to have no more than 2 wives, baby. And I'm teasing. But depends on your office. Am I a bishop or a deacon or a prophet, right? Exactly. Or an apostle, right? See, there's 5 real offices. 2 of them, right, are in the Bible. Apostle and prophet, right? Pastor, too. Evangelist is a new word, right? And teacher is the last office besides a bishop or a deacon, and they have to have a wife, Catholics, to be a bishop or a deacon. Or the Pope. You can't forbid to marry either. No, you can't. Not your priest either, right? Or no. And they come up with this off-the-wall rule that don't apply because Jesus never said you can't marry or you have to be eunuchs either, right? You're trying to make modern men eunuchs because of the 144,000 and nobody knows who they are, right? All we know is by the millennial reign, whenever that starts, and that can still be another 1,000 years from now because we're not even near the 7th day of the Lord, right? That's the day of rest anyway, or restoration from the fall. Do you see what I mean? We're technically at the end of the 5th day, going into the 6th day, right? Which means another 1,000 years, right? Do the calendar again, right? How many days is a week? 7 days as 1,000 years is what? 7,000 years. From 0 to 7,000. When did Adam sin? 60, 70 BC. Whatever you want to call it. I know. How do I know? The timetable tells you. And when Moses gets to a certain part of the replenishing of the earth, the Hebrew word he uses has to do with refilling it, as with after the flood too. Could this mean, like the Hindu religion suggests, that a world war destroyed the planet and God had to remake it? Russia and China and Korea. Now, here's the problem if we wipe each other out. You gotta go back to scratch. Day 1. Even if we're all born again, right? To now. You understand? You start with Adam and Eve again too, right? Why? You give them the same chance they had the last time, right? To see if they'll fall again, right? And if they do it all again, you die for them again, right? You go back, Jack, do it again. You heard that song before? They'll turn them round and round. That's called a loop. You're talking about time travel, too, if you bring it back to the beginning. Go all the way to the end. Back to the beginning. That's a loop. Well, God's the ultimate looper. He knows what we're all doing right and wrong. And again, who we can reach and can't, right? I don't know. And we're all human, right? Nobody's perfect. But again, you can trick me, but I'm telling you can trick me so you don't try to trick me, right? If you don't hear that, you're not listening to me, and I can't do nothing but make the same mistake that's over and over again, right? And I do. Not to you, right? Though if you come up telling me the girl was 16 or 14, not 16, that's too late. She done told me she was 16. It shouldn't even be nuts. I would escort her out or ask her to leave if she's 14. Do you understand what I mean? Law is what I'm using there to tell you the law. For Georgia's state of consent. It's called a statute, right? It means a girl 16 and older can consent to sex with a man, right, as long as she is asked and says yes to the sex, right, without any legal marriages, right. That too is in line with the law of Moses, because Mary was not engaged to Joseph and she got pregnant. That's what too. That's why it. I know. And I told you 3 ways that can happen. If Gabriel's a hermaphrodite and had sex with her, or Mary's the hermaphrodite, or Jesus incarnated into Mary and became an embryo. Mm-hmm. Who used to be named Michael. Some are right, some are wrong, Jehovah's Witnesses. The witness sees it all. Yahuwah, though. Yahuwah. That's how you say it, by the way. In English. It's from Jah, which is J instead of Y. A-H instead of Y-A-H. Who, which can be with or without a W, right? That's up to you. Ah. That's how you would actually say it in English. Now, Jahu is the masculine, and Jahuwah is the feminine. Eliyahu is saying, my God, Yahoo. Mm-hmm. Do you see? Do you see? Yahoo is the divine name, Yahuwah, the feminine form, and that's why Yahuwah is throughout the Old Testament. Right. And you can also do it backwards into who he. What it's saying is Yahuwah, who he, Akkad, right? Your mom and dad, she's mom and dad, Yahuwah, who he, Akkad, right? Do you see? Right? But men are resisting the truth now. They left it a long time ago. They left their first love in day 3. What do I mean by that? This day is as 100 years. When did Emperor Constantine and the Catholic faith really start? 300 years after Jesus. Right. That was the first church leaving their first love in the book of Revelation. Right. This is another theory they have too. Right. But you're so messed up about self-righteousness, and even Satan ministers are ministers of righteousness, right, that you become so confused about premarital sex, things like that, that you're not actually letting the couple who want to marry, maybe because they don't have the money, or like in Braveheart, or whatever. The king's doing something evil, like with David and Bathsheba, and trying to have first deeds with the Englishman and the Scottishman's wives. That's not God, that's Satan. And that's because men left love and started playing by their own rules, and used David to do that to the Scottishman, which is not what it's in the Bible for, right? No, it's not. It's a sin, right? For David to have done that. No. That's why the child died, right? But see, even William Wallace with Liam Neeson, where his wife was raped by the dickhead there, right? She's my favorite there. But it is the movie, yeah, right? I don't like rape of anyone, right? Let alone me either, right? I know. But if I'm healed, it's as if nothing happened, right? Whatever you tried to do to me after you tried to trap me with the girl, right? And that takes more than one person to involve even the girl, right? That's called entrapment for a reason. If I keep telling you I know not to sleep with anyone under 16, right? In Georgia, right? And I don't mind if you change the age of consent to 18, but you got to either change it or leave it the same, right? You can't do both, right? Right. But I can be with a 16 to 18-year-old in Georgia, right? The age of consent, unless you change it, has not changed, right? If it's now 17, that's fine too, right? I can wait until they're 17, right? And I keep telling you that too, right? And I'm waiting by myself, right? I ain't picking up girls. I ain't talking to them beyond rational thought, right? And your imagination has to actually be played out, or you're making it up yourself. See, imagination is imagining I'm trying to have sex with children when I keep telling you no, I'm not, right? And I don't actually do it during the day, right? Or you would catch me in the act. And bringing a girl to me that's underage at night involves you lying about her age, right? And if I ask her age and she lies, that's on you and her. That's called entrapment. And obviously, if God's on my side and you are trapping me, and you're shooting me too, I'm healed the next morning, right? Brian, with your little shotgun. He's so dangerous. Shotgun! Can't kill Shane, though. It's not supposed to either if I'm going to do it, asshole. Die in your sin if you don't repent.